you about the it's too expensive objection, because that was probably one of the most common objections that I saw today. Some of you have gotten your assignments in, and I almost had to cool down a little bit from making this video because this morning I was hyped up about it because I feel really, really passionate about this subject. Can you let me finish my live? We're doing Play-Doh this morning. Let me finish and I'll help you with that. Or this afternoon. Okay, so some of you, when you answered your own objection about the price, some of you were awesome. You said, actually, it's very affordable, or actually, it's incredibly valuable. Sarah Ely was one who her answer was great. You know, I used to think that, but I found it to be, it's so valuable to my family that it's very affordable for us because of what it's delivered. So you guys, you are going to have a great and easier time overcoming the expense objection from people. But for those of you who put, your answer was something like, I know it's expensive, but it's worth it. Or how can you not afford to put time or put money towards your health? Even though it's expensive, it's important, stuff like that. You guys got to change that mindset. I used to think the exact same way, so I can really know where you're coming from. I used to think, well, it is expensive, but that is the wrong mentality, that agreeing with the fact that it's expensive. It is not expensive. Even if you want to look at it as a marketplace value that would put on Plexus and probiotics and multivitamins of quality supplements, you guys can go look at other quality supplements. I can go to the store at Whole Foods like I was the other day and look at the products on the shelf and see that our price and their price, ours is not expensive. It's very comparable or cheaper than the other high quality, not the $7 multivitamins that I wouldn't even feed my dog because they're so synthetic, but high quality products, okay? So I'm gonna say that, it's not expensive. If you think that, you need to work on either comparing it to other stuff of the similar value or whatever, but realize it's not expensive, okay? And the other thing I want to say is there's 3 different categories of people that are going to tell you it's too expensive, and I'm going to break these categories down. The first one is the most common. It's someone who says it's not expensive, and what they mean is it's not valuable enough for them to spend that money because they haven't seen the value yet. They haven't felt what it feels like to be able to go to the bathroom every day regularly, or to be able to not have migraines, or to be able to get off your couch and play with your kids because you're not moody and exhausted. They have not felt those results yet that you know they will get. But because they haven't felt that and they're not fully convinced, or their pain isn't bad enough, they don't put the value on the purchase of the product, okay? Yeah, Brenda said when she switched, her multivitamin was the same price as her X Factor. Yeah, you know, my probiotic I was taking was like $60 a month before ProBio 5, and it wasn't getting me anywhere. But let's talk about the value. So when someone says, what's the price? I do not tell them what the price is, and I don't want you guys to either. Because before you give them the number, because it really doesn't matter what number you would give them. Hey buddy, can you be quiet for a second? I'm trying to talk loud so you guys can hear me. It doesn't matter what number you could give them. That's not their real objection. They're just thinking that it is, if that makes sense. So before you give them the price, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna say, well, there's several different price options or starting points or packages. There's several different combo sets and products, and we'll get there. But before we do, let's talk about your issue. But before I recommend what you should start with, I want to talk about your issue more. Give me more information. How long have you been struggling? What have you tried before? How is this? And ask them questions, get them to talk about their problems in a deeper way, and show them the value of the product. So if they're saying, well, I've been struggling for this amount of time, I've tried this before, or, well, I'm really just on caffeine and coffee, then you're gonna say, you're gonna tell them what they're gonna feel and what Plexus is gonna do for them. Well, the reason that didn't work for you is because you're not getting to the core area. This is what da-da-da-da-da. You're going to up the value to them, up the value, right? And then when they're asking, okay, well, what's the price again? You're gonna tell them, well, this is what I recommend. The triplex is this price. Here's the price for that. Let me know if that works for you, and we'll get started. And if they come back to you and say, it's still too expensive, this is where you're gonna say, you're not gonna say, oh, I know, you're not gonna say, oh, I know it's expensive, but it's worth it. Because guys, you're just confirming in their mind that it's expensive. And you have confirmed that for them, and now no matter what you say, even if the products work for them, whatever, they're always gonna think that it's expensive. I never would tell somebody, it's the same price as a cup of expensive coffee or going to Starbucks, because telling someone that they have to cut something out of their life to be able to afford these products, or get rid of going on a dinner date with your husband so you can afford it, telling someone that is just saying, yeah, it's expensive, right? When it's not. So what you're gonna say is, the value that these products are gonna offer to your life is so great, you're quickly gonna realize how valuable they are and how affordable they are. You're going to up that value for them. And guys, if they still end with, well, I can't afford it right now, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna say, and here's where the mindset matters, because if you really think, I'll go outside so you can hear me. If you really think that it's too expensive and it's actually an expensive product, then when they say, I can't afford it right now still, after you've shown them the value, you're gonna say, okay, well, I'm sorry that you can't, let me know when you can, or yeah, it's expensive, blah, blah, blah. Instead, what I would say is, oh, well, I'm really sorry that you can't, or oh, that's a bummer that you can't make room for the purchase right now. But let's keep talking, and I'm gonna keep checking in with you because I know that you're gonna want these products one day, or something like that. Instead of saying it's too expensive, I'm sorry you can't afford it, it's saying that you're not making room in your budget right now. And it's saying it nicely. It's saying, I'm sorry that I'm sorry that you can't find the room for it right now. So you just set it up in their mind that they could find the room for it, that you know that they can find the room for it. You're subtly hinting towards that, and you're leaving them with that knowledge that if they wanted to find the room, they could, right? Okay, so let's talk about the different type of people. So those are the people that the value isn't high enough. Guys, you know what I was thinking a good example of this? Colt, can you open this for her? Is the other day, I was buying plane tickets to go to Leaders Retreat, okay? Because I was last minute buying them. I messaged my friend, okay, the tickets that I wanted, that left at the time that I wanted and got in at the time I wanted, I messaged my friend and I told her, they're way too expensive. I can't afford that. Okay, guys, I'm a Diamond Ambassador. I make tens of thousands of dollars a month. I have the money in my bank account, right? That's not the problem. It's that those tickets, it wasn't valuable enough for me to buy them. So they were too expensive to me and I couldn't afford them, right? So I bought the cheaper tickets on the time that few hours different than I wanted, because that's what I was willing to pay. That's the value I had on that time, if that makes sense, right? So it's always the value someone puts on it, is whether it's expensive or not. It's not the actual price point. So I want to talk about the two other types of people really quick, and I left my notes, so I hope I stay on track here. My kids are following me. So there's so that's like 80-90% of people can't actually afford it. They just don't see the value yet. And how much more powerful for you to walk away and say, well, I'm sorry, well, that's such a bummer that you're not able to fit it in your budget this month, but I'm sure that time will come, and I will totally be here to help you get those results, girlfriend. And to walk away from her, and for you to, of course, loving her, but what I mean is not begging, not trying to convince her to give stuff up, but to walk away and you're drinking your pink drink and you're smiling on your Facebook and you're showing that you're making extra income and you're helping people getting healthy and you're putting testimonies up there and you keep checking in with her and saying, hey, I saw you posted again that you've got bad headaches. Is now a good time to start you on those products? Because I can't wait for those results. How much more powerful to do that than to try to convince them that it's actually not expensive, right? Okay, see, this is like when I have to tone it down, get kind of fired up. Okay, the other two types of people. So the other person, let's talk about the other person that really, truly doesn't have the money in their bank account. This is definitely the minority of people, but there are those people out there. I totally understand that every single dollar is budgeted. Maybe they don't do credit cards, which is great, but every single dollar is budgeted. At the end of the month, they have, $2 left and they can't go over. And I understand that there are those people out there 100%. I do. But there's two types of people within that category. One type of person, which I've seen over and over again, will decide that they're not going to blame the price of the products of why they can't. They're going to find a way to afford it if they see that value and need. So guys, there's an ambassador that I love dearly. She couldn't afford it. She didn't have the money, so they put it on their credit card, right? Because she was so tired and so exhausted and they needed it. Now she's an Emerald ambassador. There's another woman that I love. She's got multiple children with Down syndrome and tons of health issues. They could not afford it, but she saw the value. She wanted it. She didn't blame the fact that Plexus is too expensive, which is ridiculous. She decided she borrowed $12 because she only had $12 herself, or she only had some of the money herself. She borrowed $12 from her son's piggy bank, asked him if she could borrow it to buy the $34.90 welcome pack, went out and found 3 customers because she had friends, she had people, she had a mouth, went out and found people and got some customers so that she could buy her own products because she knew she had that need and she had to pull herself up, by the bootstraps mentality. And now she is a Ruby ambassador and her daughter is a senior Ruby ambassador. Okay? So what I'm saying is that the people that truly can't afford it, they will afford it when they want to. I know another person that she sold things. She sold some of her clothing. She sold baked goods. She did side jobs for a month or two to be able to collect the money to buy Plexus because she wanted it and she saw value in it, right? So there is a way when you truly want it. And besides the fact that Plexus offers you the business plan, that Plexus is so kind and generous and says, hey, for all you people that really can't afford it, that don't have that income, here's a great business for you. It doesn't matter if you're a single mom with 5 kids, or you're a wealthy woman, or you live in the suburbs, or you live on a bad street in town. Anybody has the same opportunity. Here you go. Here you go, right? Okay. And then there's a third type of person that fits that truly can't afford it category, but they take the opposite approach. And I feel really, really bad for that type of person because most likely they grew up being told that they couldn't really get much in life, being told they couldn't really get anywhere, or they've been hurt, or something has happened to them to where they see themselves as a victim, where they don't think they can do much. Whatever it is, they're a very negative person. Maybe they're just very negative, and it's really hard to live in that space, that brain space of being negative, right? And they're going to blame the price. They're going to say, oh, sorry, I had a call coming in. They're going to say it's way too expensive. And that's so, I had a girl tell me, if Plexus really is all about helping people, then they should just give it away to others. And I was like, that's welfare. You're talking about welfare now. But they have that poor me victim mentality where they're just would rather, and most of the time this is it, they love their story. They love their story more, and their suffering is their identity more than they want to do something about it. You guys know the type of people I'm talking about, and I feel my heart goes out to them. But you can't help people who won't help themselves. You can love on them and you can try to be a positive light in their life, but you can't help people who won't help themselves. That person that really can't afford it, but they're gonna try, they're gonna work for it, they're gonna get customers, they're gonna do some side jobs, they're gonna babysit, they're gonna do things to be able to get those products. You can help that person. That person can get places even without you because that person has work ethic and drive. But the poor person that doesn't, you really can't do much for. That's when you just love them. You don't love that. And yeah, it is so frustrating, Brandy. It is. It's like I have a dear family member who I love, whose health is horrid, who is probably going to die at a very young age, and so overweight. There is nothing I can do for them. I've sent them products, but they sit on their shelf. I've tried to give them tons of free stuff, but they don't want to change bad enough, so they won't. So people who say they can't afford it, people who say they just won't do this business, da-da-da-da-da, you know, you love on them, but you don't let that affect your journey or your mindset. If someone really can't afford Plexus, well, there's a business that goes along with it. You can't really get better than that, right? So I'm going to end with this because it's going long, but you guys can tell I'm really passionate about this subject because it hindered me for a long time. I'm going to end with this. And now I'm totally forgetting what it was. What was I going to end with? You guys want to see my playhouse and my deer? He's right there. I totally lost it. It was something good, but I lost it. Oh, never believe anybody either. You never believe anybody. And I've learned this through Plexus about their diet and about their finances. Even if they say, you know, we live paycheck to paycheck, we really can't, da-da-da-da-da. Most of those people are buying things that are not just food and water and a house over their head. Most of those people. I had a customer, I love her, we still talk a lot, and she is still a customer, but she told me she couldn't afford the triplex, so I said, that's fine, let's start you on Probio 5 and BioCleanse then, because you really need that gut health, and we can do that later, when you're able to work that in, at that time that you work that in, right? So she got on that. About 2 months later, she decides to order the triplex,
Are you okay?
and, oh, thank you, Sarah. She decides to order the triplex, and get the slim too, and she's loving it and all that. And then I'm talking to her, and she says something about, oh, I compliment her on her nails, and she said, oh yeah, that's my splurge. Every 2 weeks I go and get them done. And I thought to myself, and she had told me about how she was just barely making it and having to work an extra job and all this kind of stuff, which, you know, is probably very true, but she affords to get her nails done twice a month, which probably costs her a good 40 to 50 bucks every time, right? At least, because it's valuable to her. And it was just a good reminder to never believe anybody about their income, their ability, their bank account or their diet. People will tell you they eat great. They don't. They never really do. We have learned that too, right? All right, guys. Well, I love you, and I'll talk to you later. I hope that this helped. I'm sorry if I seem overly like, about it, but it's because it does frustrate me so bad, especially when I see people say, and I know it's expensive, but, because that is why you can't get people over the hump. That's why you can't show someone the value, because you're still thinking it's too expensive, but. You have to get rid of the but. You have to just see the value and the affordability and the opportunity if someone really doesn't have the expenses in their budget, right? All right, but I love you guys, and I will talk to you later. Have a wonderful Sunday tomorrow, and we are going to have an amazing week next week. All right, bye.